Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're here with episode number 30, 30th episode. We're moving right along on these episodes.
Just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Oh, whatever.
You need to get that looked at.
I should. Every time someone says that number.
What, the number 30?
There it goes again.
So as is tradition for our episodes that are even tens, we are doing another top 10 list.
This time, the most interesting yet.
Can't even keep a straight face. Since this is early in 2017, like almost exactly 2 weeks, a couple days passed.
Indeed.
We decided it'd be fun to look forward to this new year and what we are all looking forward to. Especially, it doesn't hurt that everyone else in the industry does this, so we're going to do it too. Hooray, originality.
Hooray for games that I don't know exist yet.
So this is our 2017 anticipation top 10. So these are the top 10 games that yours truly are looking forward to.
Ugh. I don't know. Just the way you said yours truly, that made me want to vomit like it. Something must be going around.
Oh, it's going to be one of those.
Sure. It is now.
It is now.
All right. Well, so I guess real quick, Zach, did you have any criteria for what went onto your list?
Yeah, I didn't include anything that I'm kickstarting.
Okay.
So I will talk about those after. Just
Okay.
mention them, just so I don't spoil anything.
Fair enough.
But otherwise, it was just things I was interested in. As when we decided to do this, I was like, oh, okay, I'm interested in this, and this. And so I immediately got my top 6 or 7 because I was like, I remembered them in this order. So obviously, those are the ones I'm interested in. So
Okay.
I did include some expansions, but yeah.
Yeah, a lot of mine have expansions.
All right. So Jeff, tell us about yours. How'd you pick your list?
They're games I want to play that come out this year.
Are they things that you're anticipated about?
I am anticipating them. There are only 2 Kickstarters, but...
Was there anything you specifically left off the list or anything like that?
As long as it will be coming out in 2017 was the clear denominator of my anticipation list for 2017.
All right.
Way to take a stand, Jeff.
Yeah. So
No further.
so for my list, I intentionally didn't.
To be things I could find information on. I tried not to put like general, like that Mountains of Madness game that's coming from Rob Davro. That seems pretty cool, but there's literally nothing but 2 pictures out there. So
Okay.
yeah.
So for mine, I didn't do reprints if they are just a reprint. There's a couple of reprints that are coming out that I'll mention that I'm looking forward to.
Oh, yeah, mine are all new games.
Yeah.
So
There is one second edition of a previous game, and there is 2 examples of Kickstarters that I currently have backed that are going to be releasing in 2017. But otherwise, I'm obviously anticipating all of the games I've kickstarted, but there's 2 in particular that I felt really needed to be on this list. So I made exceptions for them. But yeah, there's one game on this list that there's not even pictures for. So I didn't live up to Jeff's strict criteria.
Yeah.
But all right, well, shall we get on with it, gentlemen?
sure.
We shall.
All right. Who would like to start off with number 10?
My number 10 is a game called Dice Forge. And it's this dice crafting game where you can actually change the faces of the dice.
Yes.
So that's why I chose it. I was like, that sounds cool. Let's see what happens.
I know that's in Rahdo's top 25 list. I'm curious about it, but I wouldn't say I anticipate it.
I'm always interested in unique mechanisms, and I think being able to physically click on, different dice faces sounds cool. You can actually manipulate them. It's like card crafting, but dice crafting.
Yes. So,
That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
all right, Jeff, what's your number 10?
Tiny Epic Quest. I did a Kickstarter for this one, but it's one that I'm actually excited for, of the Tiny Epic era of games.
It's definitely the most interested I am out of all of those games. Like, out of the entire line, when I heard that one, I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. The Galaxies expansion will be out sometime this year, but
Yes.
I'm like, Quest. Yeah, I need Quest.
It's the first thing I've looked at. I'm like, I want to paint that. Ooh.
There's lots
Okay.
of fancy items and stuff in
Yes.
Right on. My number 10 is one of the 2 Kickstarters that is on my list. It is Feudum from Mark Swanson. This is a new game entirely from a new designer, and so I'm kind of interested in that. It looks like it's got some unique mechanics. I actually like the art style. I know some people are a little bit turned off by the direction they chose with it, but I haven't really heard anything from them since the Kickstarter completed, which isn't quite making me nervous yet, but is starting to make me a little nervous.
When did it finish?
It finished December 15th. So,
Okay.
I mean,
2 months.
there. A month.
Oh yeah, sorry.
December 15th. So, yeah, so it funded about a month ago, and they've had a couple updates since then, but the last update was December 19th. And so, I don't know. I'm still looking forward to it. I liked it. You know, obviously, that's why I kickstarted it, and I'm still anticipating it.
Gotcha.
So, next up on my list for number 9, this is my exception to Jeff's rule. This is the one where there is no real information I could find other than that it is potentially coming out. And that is a new game from designer Vital Lacerda, and it's on Mars. It's his Mars game because apparently everyone's doing Mars games right now.
Everybody has to have one.
So this is Vital's Mars game. If it's anything like what I know of other Vital games, it's heavy Euro of some type. He does various different things, some worker placement, some other things. But yeah, I'm recently getting into Vital games and enjoying them, so I'm looking forward to On Mars.
Cool. My number 9 is so Hero Realms. It's going to have some sort of campaign thing and boss decks, and I really liked the changes just by adding the character packs
From Star Realms?
Yeah, from Star Realms, and so they're going to add more things, a campaign on it. You might be able to actually keep part of your decks. That sounds cool. I'm up for it.
It was all a Kickstarter stretch goals and stuff like that. And about a month ago, they were like, "Hey, we're going to have to delay because we're doubling the size of the next campaign." Like it went from a 55 card deck to a 130 card deck.
Nice.
Expansion.
Right.
And they just today released some more info and stuff like that on it.
Gotcha.
Final art.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Huh? Jeff, number 8?
My number 9.
Oh, I thought you just...
No.
I'm sorry.
That was mine.
That was his.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Massive Darkness. I did not kickstart this game, but I really want to play it. Just like Zombicide and everything. I don't want to pay for it, but I really, really want to play it.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked Black Plague, the little I've played of it, but Massive Darkness is sort of another spin on that whole Zombicide.
It's more of a RPG,
Yeah.
like, Dungeon
Descent.
Smash sort of
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, I was really close to backing this. I just didn't have the money at the time, and my tastes have been shifting very much away from this type of game recently. So I ended up not backing it, but I'm with you, Jeff. I'm looking forward to playing it.
Yeah.
But my list is, these are things that I potentially want to own, and I don't have any interest in owning Massive Darkness at this point.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I would love to own a lot of games, but fuck those prices.
yeah. All right. So, Jeff, you're number 8.
My number 8 is Rising Sun. Should be coming out sometime this year. It's by Eric Lang, so I will love it, like most of his other games. It's that sort of Japanese shogun kind of theme to it, and it's a miniatures game. So,
And it has its roots in diplomacy, just like Blood Rage had its roots in Risk, sort of. So,
get ready to stab your friends in a board game and in real life.
yes.
Cool. So my number 8 is, so I'm getting into heavier games more and more and more. Like I've always kind of tended that way, and then now it's like a strong magnetic pull that is just yanking me in that direction.
Some would
And-
say like a black hole
Yeah.
that you may never escape from.
Well, they're heavy.
Yeah.
So this one comes directly out of school. I know that Paulo Santiago and Paulo Soledad are 2 designers that work together a lot and have made some fantastic heavy games. I haven't played any from them, but I've heard great things.
Which ones?
So they have also designed Nippon, which I've heard pretty good things about.
I've heard of that.
Panamax, which I have
Yeah,
actively been wanting to play.
I've wanted to play that too.
And then Madeira, which is one of the previous heavy cardboard, heavy game of the year award winners. So, so far, heavy cardboard hasn't led me astray. I continue to trust their recommendations for really heavy games. And
Train game specifically.
played one train game.
You've played 2.
Tramways is not technically a train game.
That-
it has
all those-
trains in it.
Then it's a train game.
Okay, Seven Wonders is a train game.
Yeah, Ticket to Ride's a train game.
Yeah.
Eldritch Horror is a train game.
Clearly.
This is true.
Pandemic Iberia is a train game.
Anyway, so my number 8 coming in from these guys is Brazil. And it's a game about gold mining in the 18th century Brazil. And one of the things that really looks interesting is I looked into this game a bit, and they've got a bunch of pictures up on Board Game Geek of it through development. And it's kind of cool to see the massive changes that have been made to the board over development. And then now where they've ended up is the main player board reminds me kind of the board from Robinson Crusoe, where you have the hexes outlined. Robinson Crusoe.
Okay.
And you have the things outlined. And then as you explore, you place new hexes and stuff. And it's another big board. Looks like there's a whole lot of components and stuff going on. And that sounds pretty awesome to me. So, Zach, you're number 8. My
number 8 is the Time Story expansions, specifically Expedition Endurance and Lumen Fidei, Fideli, something like that.
Probably Fideli.
Yeah. So Expedition Endurance takes place in Antarctica during World War I, and the second one is in medieval Spain. And it's more Time Story stuff, so I'm interested.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Time Story's real good.
Definitely looking forward to both of those. Again, you own Time Stories, so I probably won't be the one buying them. And then also, I didn't put any expansions on my list, but if I had, then Time Stories would have been up there for sure. I really like that game, and I look forward to playing more of it. So, Zach, you want to move on to number 7?
Yeah, sure. All right, the next one is Terraforming Mars expansion, specifically the second one. The one, the bigger one,
prototype.
Yes, that one,
big one.
Mainly because it has all that really cool stuff, the Venus and the extra Mars and more cards and stuff like that. I'm still very interested in the board.
More cards.
Yeah, but I'm getting more of those cards and more corporations and stuff.
I want to terraform Venus.
Yes.
And moons and
exactly
trade with them.
So yeah, that's my. And I have my reason is Terraforming Mars. Duh. So.
What are you, dumb?
All right, Jeff, what you got for number 7?
Mine is similar to one of Zach's, and for many good reasons. The Hero Realms expansion's coming up, specifically the Ruins of Thandar campaign. They just came out with, there's going to be like a 3-mission campaign starter deck. It's going to come with a cool boss. Lots of interesting ideas there that I haven't seen in a deck builder before. Pretty excited.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So moving on, my number 7 is Pandemic Legacy Season 2. So we haven't seen hardly anything about this game, just a picture of the board and the box art. But it looks like it takes place in kind of a post-apocalyptic situation, which is a genre that I'm a fan of. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed playing Pandemic Legacy Season 1.
Yeah.
And so Season 2 has got me interested.
Looks much more water-themed from map leaks and stuff that have been out there.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping it's more than just Pandemic plus expansions.
Yeah.
So, which that couple of pictures we've seen looks like it. So
yeah, completely changed that game.
Yep.
All right, Zach.
Number 6.
Oh, yeah, so I guess that's to me still.
Yes.
So my number 6 is Anachrony. I missed the Kickstarter on this entirely. Like, it never even crossed my radar, which bums me out a little bit because it looks awesome. So it's a competitive Euro-style strategy game with worker placement, but it takes place in 2 timelines, a present and a future timeline. And as you play through the game, you kind of play in both times, and you can send stuff back to then affect the future in kind of a weird time loopy sort of way. And I guess from what I was reading, each of the players control like one of 4 major factions from the future who are aware of this coming calamity where an asteroid is going to destroy the last free city on Earth. And so they're trying to send back enough stuff to their past selves to have the stuff in the modern time to escape before the asteroid hits. And so from some inference that I made, it looks like you can maybe all lose. Like if you don't prepare well enough, the asteroid just hits and you're all fucked. But I might be reading too much into their vague thematic discussion of the game's theme. So
That reminds me of, I actually did see that Kickstarter and I was like, oh, that sounds cool. But then, I don't know, just didn't cross my mind. But that reminds me of also the Terminator board game that has
Yeah.
that same 2 timeline thing, which I originally had on my list, but it got bumped by Terraforming Mars
So
expansion. So
this year, all Mars games. Next year, time looping.
yes,
Yep.
clearly. So that's my number 6, Anachrony.
My number 6.
Okay.
Seventh Continent. It was a Kickstarter. I wish I had the Kickstarter because that game looks fucking awesome.
yeah, that Kickstarter did look cool.
Yeah.
when it was going on.
You're like cursed adventurers and you have to go back to the island, the seventh continent that's not Antarctica or something. I tried to figure out what the seventh continent was, but it wasn't Antarctica. So it said it was nearby.
Just it's a neighborhood.
Yeah. The cool hook on the game is it sort of has like a save mechanic where you can kind of play because you're supposed to have just a ton of content and you're supposed to get rid of your curse. And by playing many, many hours, it looks super cool, but it's got that Kickstarter-itis of like, oh, I missed out on all that cool stuff and now it's not as good of a game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. My number 6 is Fuse Flatline, which is the spiritual successor to Fuse, and it takes place in the same universe, which apparently in the in-universe thing is you guys didn't save the bomb and it blew up. And so
So all of those people died,
Yeah.
but now you...
well, so now this one is you are now doing triage on the people that got blown up. So
See, I had not heard about that in-universe
Yeah.
explanation, and I like that a lot.
yeah. You just once again it's a dice chucking sort of thing. You're
Yeah.
trying to figure out. You're trying to save these people, and Fuse equals sold. That's my reason. So I
Yeah.
really liked Fuse. Another thing using that same sort of format, I'm in.
It sounds even more tight time-wise. Like
Yes,
you have
because-
a minute per patient or something.
Yeah, and if you don't, I don't think if you don't save it, you don't save the person you lose or something
Yeah.
like that. So
So this game I'm very interested in, but it's not one I'm personally anticipating because it's just not my style of game overall. But I probably will end up playing it a whole bunch at game night because I play Fuse a whole lot at game night. But I don't see myself ever buying Fuse.
gotcha.
So,
It's a good game.
yep,
Number 5.
5 halfway through the list, moving right along.
My number 5 is Manhattan Project Minutes to Midnight. So I'm a big fan of the Manhattan Project from Minion Games. And I'm enjoying the Manhattan Project Energy Empire, which the first time I saw that, I was like, oh, sweet, it's a sequel. And they're like, no, not really. It's its own sort of thing. But then they're like, we do have our own sequel coming, though. And so this one is not only you're building bombs, but you're like building submarines and ships and stuff like that in the 60s and 70s. So that's going to be coming to Kickstarter at some point, and I will definitely be interested in that.
Yeah, so that one is actually probably one that should have been on my list because I do love the original. So far, I need to play Energy Empire some more.
Yeah.
But that description sounds fantastic.
I have not played any Manhattan Project games besides Energy Empire,
Yeah.
but I heard they're good.
Yes.
I really like the original one. I really should own that. I don't
They
know
are-
why I don't.
Well rated.
Just get the expansions, too, because it's for the first one is Nations. You want, because it doesn't come with Nations.
Oh, okay.
So,
Good to know.
Now we know.
Jeff, your number 5?
Cinco is Gloomhaven.
ooh.
Yeah, it looks really good. Like
It does.
choose your own adventure, like combat, some deck building in there.
Legacy-esque.
Legacy-esque, campaign-esque.
Yep.
Gloomhaven looks real good.
I'm disappointed that I did not get in the Kickstarter on that, but
Another one of those.
oh no, it's not because I actually talked to him.
Yeah?
And I was like, hey, what? Because I saw Man vs. Meeple talking about it, and I was like, hey, what Kickstarter stuff is that? And they're like, we don't know. You should ask the developer, and the developer create. They're like, yeah, the only thing is a Kickstarter exclusive thank you note.
Oh.
Because
that's
he
nice.
said exclusives suck, and I'm like, sweet.
Yep. Awesome. All right.
Well, there you go. That
So
actually
number
makes
1
me
on my list, Gloomhaven.
significantly more interested
Yep.
in that.
Yeah.
So my number 5 is the closest thing to a reprint, and this is the second edition of CO2, which was one of Vital Lacerda's early games. It is a semi-cooperative game, and supposedly, he had mentioned earlier this year in a episode with Heavy Cardboard where they interviewed him. He talked about that he wanted to go back as he's grown as a developer and designer, and he looks back at his previous game. Sometimes he's like, maybe I could do something different. Well, so he did that with Vinos. They have, like, in the deluxe edition that I just recently picked up and can't wait to get to the table, there's the 2010 vintage and then the 2016 vintage, because it's wine and they do vintages. But the 2016 one is a little bit more streamlined and has some rule tweaks, but it also includes the original 2010 rules. So you can play, if you're a purist and you like the original version, you can play that. If you want to play his new streamlined one, you can. That's supposedly supposed to be similar with second edition of CO2, that it's going to offer both the newer streamlined version and the original as was designed back in the day.
Nice. I know Rado really likes CO2. So yeah, I'm interested in that one as well.
So that is my number 5, CO2 by Vital Lacerda.
Number 4.
Bum, bum, bum. So this marks the third time that this designer appears on my list. Watch out, Uwe Rosenberg. There might be a new contender for favorite designer. It is also my second Kickstarter on this list. It's Lisboa by Vital Lacerda.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so Lisboa was what got me into Vital Lacerda, even though I haven't played it, because I got in on that Kickstarter, and I've heard great things about his games for forever. And I finally decided to take the plunge. I did the Lisboa Kickstarter, and then they had add-ons for Vinos and Gallerist, which I picked up. We got Gallerist to the table twice last week, and it was fantastic. And for me, it was fantastic, as Zach shrugs over there. For me, it was fantastic. I look forward to playing it more. I can't wait to get Vinos to the table. And Lisboa was the one that got me into both of those, and it's easily probably one of the most excited I've ever been for a Kickstarter to deliver. So
his art looks a shit ton better than Rosenberg's. I'll give him that.
There.
So
yes, production quality is also up there.
Yes, it is.
So
Nailed it.
So watch out, Uwe. I'm starting to maybe have a new favorite designer.
Hopefully you won't take it personally, Adrian.
Hopefully.
Yes. Sleepless nights. My number 4 is Charterstone. Stonemaier Games. This is kind of their big follow-up, big game to Scythe. I guess this is their next big release. It'll be a legacy-style worker placement game where everyone's boards by the end of the legacy campaign will be different. So everyone can kind of own their own and go over to your friend's place, play their board, and be like, oh, that's interesting.
This one is one I'm tempted to actually get multiple copies of because I want to do a big one with you guys because we all play these together, legacy games typically. And so I want to do one of those with all of us playing all 4 players. There's also rules for like automatic players if you play with less than 4, so the village grows at roughly the same rate. So I kind of want to get another one and do like a 2-player one with Megan. And then depending on how those go, I don't know.
And I think
I want to have as many possible unique games of Charterstone as I can.
I think since I think you'd be okay just getting one for you and Megan and then just playing an additional copy.
Well, yeah, and that's realistically what's going to happen. But
Because there's probably going to be multiple copies purchased.
Yeah.
but
As long as it's good.
But what if the 4-player one I play in ends up with a really cool board state that I want to play later?
Then just
Play with that person that owns that copy of the game.
Shenanigans.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's clearly easier to buy multiple copies.
So that was your number 4, right?
It was my number 4.
All right. My number 4 is Rising Sun by Eric Lang. Reason, Eric Lang equals sold. All the reasons that he said.
I feel I gave that exact reason as
Yeah,
well.
pretty much. Same thing. If he's making something, I'm game. So
Right on. Spoiler alert, this one actually isn't on my list, although I don't dislike Eric Lang by any stretch, and I've really enjoyed a lot of his games. I haven't heard enough about this one to get me that excited about it. Feudal Japan isn't a theme that's super interesting to me.
Total War Shogun 2.
And
all day long.
I'm starting to move away from like mini dudes on a map type games. And the thing that interests me the most about it is that it's based on diplomacy, which I've heard is a lot of fun in a fuck you, stab your friends in the back sort of way. So
I mean that we sort of do that with Game of Thrones. So
exactly,
and you enjoy that.
I do enjoy Game of Thrones, although I haven't played that in probably a year. I'm looking forward to playing it. It's not one that I'm looking forward to owning.
That's fine.
So
It's your own fault.
Yeah.
that's fair.
Number 3.
Top 3.
My number 3 is Charterstone. So same reasons that Jeff said. Reason legacy equals duh. So
There's a Facebook group you can join that has all the updates on there. It will not be a Kickstarter. It will not be pre-order or something. It will be just announced for buying.
didn't Scythe sort of kill him using Kickstarter?
Yes,
He'd
hard.
I think he'd been moving away from it for a while, though.
That was the final stab and twist in the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the final 15 to 20 nails in the coffin.
Yep.
Which, if anyone listening is thinking of designing a game that they want to put on Kickstarter and stuff, I highly recommend looking into some of Jamie Stegmaier's blog, and he does some video stuff. And he actually gives a lot of great insight into everything that goes into running a Kickstarter, especially a successful Kickstarter, because he has ran incredibly successful Kickstarters. So if you're thinking about doing it, highly recommend, checking out his stuff and, learn from other people's both mistakes and successes.
Yes, definitely.
Also, just read his blog because it's hilarious.
Yeah. He is
He had
easily
a
one of my
thing
favorite.
about choosing a sandwich the other day. Nice. It's like, I'll read that.
So yeah, that's Charterstone.
Right on. So my number 3, and it's almost a two-parter because learning about this game clued me into its vague predecessor, which I'm now also very interested in trying to track down and play. So the game is Harvest,
Oh,
and it's by Trey
Trey Chambers,
Chambers. Yes, thank you.
not his brother Tim.
Not his potentially non-existent brother Tim. And so it is a sequel to his game Harbor, and Harbor has been described as a mini Le Havre.
Oh yeah. From is it Dice Hate Me Games?
I don't know.
I saw that when we were at Gen Con. I saw Harbor.
Yeah, so Harbor is supposed to be like a mini Le Havre, and even like Rado says that he felt it did mini Le Havre very effectively. And Harvest is supposed to be mini Agricola. And since Le Havre and Agricola are 2 of my top 10 games, mini versions seem awesome. And so on the Rado's anticipation list that I was going through as I was doing this, Trey Chambers actually responds, and he said, as a huge Agricola fan, his intention with this game was to make, quote, Agricola in 10 minutes per player.
Wow.
And he thinks he's succeeded.
Okay, I think I'm thinking of a different game
Okay.
because that one is not by that guy. So I will look that up.
But yeah, so that's kind of a two-parter because now that I know about Harbor and that it's a mini Le Havre, I'm kind of interested in picking it up and checking it out. And that also makes me pretty excited for Harvest being a mini Agricola. So that's my number 3. Jeff, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is The First Martians. It is not a re-implementation of Robinson Crusoe, sorta,
It's loosely
Kinda.
It's
based.
loosely based on it.
loose.
I mean, he uses a lot of the same mechanisms, but it's more of a Euro game versus that one's adventure game.
Yes.
So,
It's got some campaigns. I did the pre-order. The pre-order is basically a Kickstarter, but not Kickstarter because
Yep.
it's pre-orders. I'm really excited for it. It's coming out, June, July this year? Somewhere around there.
I think
Sounds
that's
about right.
when they have the release scheduled for.
I can get my ass stomped in by Mars instead of an island in the Pacific.
there we go.
Yep.
Yeah, and I forgot to add that to my list apparently. So fuck you, Dice Forge. We're just gonna insert it somewhere.
Everything goes down
Yes,
now.
yes.
And Dice Forge, you're off the list.
Well, that's very fitting because I'm going to buck the trend here. And my number 2 was First Martians.
There you go.
From Portal Games and Ignacy and all that, and it really the Mars theme is hot as we've been talking
Yep.
about,
Hot.
and it seems to be understandable. The Mars games that are coming out seem to be all pretty good games.
There's like one, I think like the first one that came out like right around the same time as Terraforming Mars wasn't that great apparently, but every other one it seems has been good.
so
Nailing it.
Yeah.
it's funny to me when and everything does this. Video games do this.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Movies do this. Like things get on a trend and like 2 or 3 bang out that are similar but different and sometimes good and sometimes not.
It's all corporate espionage.
I'm super intrigued by the 2 campaigns in First Martians plus 6 standalone missions. I've recently slowly begun to embrace app support in certain games, and this is the type of game where I'm okay with there being app support. It sounds like they're using the app to do what Robinson Crusoe did, where you have like the cards where like, oh, something happens, what do you do? And then it goes in there and it might show up later. They use the app to do that in a more thematic way, so it's supposed to be even better for the story.
Yeah, because I know when we ever see those cards, we would always cover the bottom part to not know what was coming up. But it was always...
Really try and stick with the theme. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, First Martians, it's very close to being the top of my list, but it's my number 2.
It's got cheat codes.
Yeah, a board game with cheat codes.
Yep. My number 2 is the Terraforming Mars expansions.
Oh, there we go.
Yep. There's a board expansion, Hellas,
Hellas and Elysium,
and
yeah.
Elysium, which is just the rear and bottom of Mars. And then there is a leaked, crazy future one with cards and corporations and moons and terraforming, and I want that one really bad. Maybe it'll be at Gen Con for 4 seconds.
Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe I'll get there at 5 seconds.
All right, so let's all just chip in. Everybody who's going to Gen Con, everybody chip in a little bit so one of us can get a VIG gamer and just bolt.
Sprint. They say don't run. I'm gonna run. As soon as I get out of line of sight, those
No, you
front
just
door
skip.
people.
Just skip aggressively.
Yeah, aggressively.
Just make it look like you're really excited to be there.
No.
Real big bounding.
Skipping, but really angry about it. Like the people see you, and
His body looks really happy, but his face is just pure anger.
rage.
Yes.
And that's why Terraforming Mars is number 2 on my list.
Just skipping boundless rage.
Yep. So my number 2 is Gloomhaven. Legacy equals duh, obviously. And all the things that Jeff said, same for me. So
I'm a sucker for anything with choose your own adventure
yes,
in the description.
Exactly.
So
It's one of my favorite things about Tales of the Arabian Nights. So
That's fair. I'm intrigued by Gloomhaven. It's more than I'm willing to go out and spend on a game without having really played it.
unless it's Vita Lizarda.
Unless it's Vita Lizarda.
Yeah.
But so I know I
just
like
buy him a
heavy
bunch
Euros.
of stickers and just slap them on the.
You like Fuzzy Euros, but you didn't know if you liked his games or not. And then you just like, I'm just going to buy Kickstarter Deluxe of 2 of them.
I know what the
and
resale.
a third one is.
I know what the resale market's like, and I knew I'd be
I'm
able
sure
to
the resale of this one could have been good.
And it probably can. I don't know. So it's increasingly not the style of game that I tend towards. However, it does look very interesting. I've been hearing really good things, and so I hope that one of you guys ends up with it so I can play it. And just form my opinion then.
What we'll do is we'll just play it in front of you
yes.
in your
Damn it.
apartment.
Yep.
Real jerks. All right, so I think we're
Number
on to the
1.
finale. Yeah, number 1's going around. So my number 1 has been discussed twice now.
Just taking 2 and 1, eh? You're just doing 1 on...
All right, so who wants to do 1? Because mine's been discussed, so it's going to be a quick one.
Mine's going to be discussed.
Go ahead.
Congratulations, Jeff, on potentially having the only unsullied number 1.
Adrian. Yeah, probably not.
So mine's Charterstone. I mentioned it's one I'm thinking about picking up multiple copies of. The Euro Legacy combination really intrigues me. The theme kind of intrigues me. You start out with a small village and you build it up to a city. And as you build buildings, there are stickers that go on the board. And now that's a building in your town. And your town just gets bigger as you play. It's supposed to be a dozen plays. So I feel like there's a lot of games on my shelf that I haven't played a dozen times. If I get a dozen plays out of Charterstone, that'll be great. Plus, the end state is supposed to be a unique Euro game. Yeah, it sounds great. I'm really, really interested and looking forward to this one. So that's my number 1, Charterstone.
I can probably solidly assume that Zach and I have the same number 1s.
Yeah, I was really surprised it wasn't yours.
Yep.
But what are you going to do?
Well, I guess I know which one
and
you
the one
guys
thing
haven't
I-
mentioned yet.
And the one thing I have to say about Adrian's list is it must be completely fictional because I have not heard of any of these games before. I think he was just making up. He forgot to write his list, and he was like, "These all sound like heavy Euro games."
I know Zach and Jeff won't look into it. Yeah.
Like Brazil. That's it. Anyway, Zach and I's number one game that we are most anticipated for the year of 2017 is Pandemic Legacy Season 2.
Oh, I was going to do Munchkin X-Men. No, you were correct.
Yeah. I loved Season 1.
Yep.
Hard. It was
In the
super
face,
fun.
yeah.
Yep. Hard in the face. Face hugged.
Yeah.
It was super fun. Like the way you named everything, named everyone, how you got attached to those people.
Yep.
Things could go wrong.
So are we going to do our own...
Separate groups?
Yeah, we're going to do our separate groups again, or what?
I would probably do separate groups again. That
Okay.
way we'd have at least 2 games going.
Okay.
I think that sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could repeat the same.
And I know
4
everyone
and-
wants to, for my group, would definitely play Season 2.
Yeah, same with our group.
Yeah.
Yeah, a naval theme, sort of. Like there's cities in the oceans and stuff.
All I know
and
is I don't want to look any more into it. I'm just like, I know I'm going to love this game,
Yeah.
hopefully. But, whatever. I'm willing to risk not knowing anything about it. So
So you have to buy the blue box. I'll
yes.
buy the red box.
Yeah. I think it's slightly different colors.
It's blue and red.
Is it blue and red?
Yeah.
I thought it was like orange and something else.
Nah. Apocalyptic orange.
Orange and navy.
Eek.
Yeah.
Right on.
So as I've calculated up our lists of things that we have had on here, the top winners on our lists have definitely been Charterstone, First Martians, and Pandemic.
Definitely.
That was on all 3 of our lists.
Just in different places.
Yep. Adrian's don't matter after that.
Yep. So then we have Terraforming Mars.
So I got Terraforming Mars, Gloomhaven, and Rising Sun.
Yep.
With Hero Realms close behind.
Yeah.
Rising Sun wasn't on yours.
Yes, it was. It was
Yeah, it
number
was.
4.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Jeff, we linked up a lot on this one.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I'm increasingly feeling like the odd man out in this group.
I mean, we keep trying to make you feel that. So I'm glad that it's finally sticking.
We've really nailed that. Our most anticipated Adrian event over the next 365 days is his
Isolation.
isolation, yes.
My inevitable meltdown. Terraforming Mars would have been on mine, but I very specifically made sure not to have any expansions because the games themselves are already out. So no, Terraforming Mars would have also very much been on mine. I'm looking forward to more and more Terraforming Mars. I'm excited that the pre-orders are available, and yeah.
Yeah, and the couple Kickstarters I have that I didn't mention is Tiny Epic Quest. Yeah, Jeff. And then Beyond Tiny Galaxies Beyond the Black, and then Unfair. So that should be released hopefully within the next couple months.
Yeah.
But
So a couple games that didn't quite make my list. You can call them, runners up. Admirals of the Black is a real-time cooperative game where you are pirates defending your pirate ship from other pirates.
Okay.
And the interesting thing about this one, the one that made me want to talk about it, is the pawns are hourglasses.
Okay, yeah.
And so you move to different positions of the ship to do different actions to help defend it. But when you do, you flip your hourglass and you can't leave until that runs out. So if you time it poorly, maybe you run over to the cannon to shoot a ship and you shoot the little rowboat. I don't know enough about this game. But maybe you shoot something small and then immediately something big gets in the way, but nobody can come shoot it because your hourglass is sitting there hogging up the spot.
Okay, I thought it was that you didn't do it until your hourglass was done. So it's like we need someone to shoot that. It's just like, oh god, we're waiting, we need to shoot it, but we can't. It's like loading and all that stuff, and then finally, boom. But
yeah, I don't know. Let me pull that up here really quickly.
all right, I'll talk about another one that I had that was on my list.
Okay.
Eventually is and that was Ultimate Werewolf Legacy.
Yeah.
Just Legacy, duh. Like all my but it's this is this just I don't know. It just sounds interesting. I don't know if I want it or not. I'm gonna probably wait to see what people say about it. But the thought, it is, I'm definitely curious about it. I think it's supposed to take place in 3 game bursts, and I don't know how much it changes to the story for each of those. While there also is a grand sort of narrative, or it's just we have this little three round spurt, but while still making changes. So.
Yeah. So I pulled it up here while you were looking that up, and you are correct, Zach. I misread. It says the trick is each player's piece is an hourglass. So once you've gone to a location, you have to wait until the hourglass is empty before you've completed the action you're attempting. But it seems interesting. I don't know if the game itself will be something I'm interested in. I'm looking forward to checking out more, but that seems like a really cool mechanic, especially for a real-time cooperative game.
I agree with that.
Which definitely have their place in my gaming library. Like, I like a fair amount of real-time co-ops.
All Captain Sonar all day long.
Oh, yeah.
Which real-time co-ops do you have?
Space Alert or Space Cadets.
Okay.
And then I want to get Captain Sonar.
Okay.
2 other games. Jump Drive, we mentioned last episode a little bit. It's the intro to Race for the Galaxy. I'm intrigued by it. I love Race for the Galaxy. I love Roll for the Galaxy. If this really is a good way to introduce people to those games, then I'm sold. If it comes across as just a watered-down version of those, then I'm not. So I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess, about that one. Definitely not something that was on my anticipation list, but I'm intrigued by it. There's also going to be another entry in the Key series, which is like Key Flower, Key Harvest.
Key to the City.
Key to the City. This one is Key Per, which this name I really don't like because like all the other ones, like the Key, like Key Flower, like flowers it's whole, like Key Harvest, like okay, they all have Key. Key to the City really makes sense. Key Per is just one word, Keyper. Like I have no idea what that means. Yeah. So cautious. I've been interested in the Key series for a while. I've heard really good things. I don't know if Keeper will be my first intro to that series. Probably not. But keeping an eye on it.
It was almost a pun.
Keeping.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you have any that weren't on your list that you want to talk about?
There's a rumored Rebellion expansion coming out. I couldn't find any details on that. The Mountains of Madness from Rob Davro, there's no details on that at all. The, what was it, Rune Wars? It was that
The miniatures
game coming from Fantasy Flight. Could be a solid filler in my heart for Warhammer Fantasy Battles disappearance into Age of Sigmar. Once I play Arkham Horror LCG, probably the expansions for those coming out this year would probably be nice.
We do need to play that.
Yeah, we need to play it. I've heard nothing but phenomenal things about it, and it's a co-op LCG, so that could be really cool.
Game night?
Where are we at game night?
Wits End.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
A couple other ones that I want to mention. I had a pretty decent list, and then some things fell off and didn't make it, and then some things I intentionally didn't put on there. I mentioned I wasn't doing any reprints, so 2 reprints that didn't make my list, but that I am still looking forward to. Antiquity. It is supposed to be an absolutely brutally hard kind of resource management, worker placement game. Has a lot going on, and it's one that the Heavy Cardboard guys have described as being a game that is actively trying to destroy you. It actively hates you. It's trying to ruin your day, you know. Sounds interesting. I would like to play this before I buy it because this one's getting to the line where I'm sure for me there is a too heavy. I know for some people there aren't. I think for me there is a too heavy, and Antiquity might be that line. So I want to play it before I buy it.
It seems like it really speaks to your masochistic self, though.
And this is true as well. So Container is also getting a reprint. I've heard nothing but great things about this game. Essentially, for those of you who aren't aware of Container,
the couple of you,
the 2 of you probably sitting at this table.
I think he's still just making up games.
He's just really generic sounding names.
It's a shipping game, obviously. Well, I don't know about obviously. So there are containers like the big heavy containers that go on shipping.
Not like a
ships.
cookie container.
Exactly. And so part of the game is running your docks where you're shipping goods out, trying to get them to the islands. And then once goods get to the islands, you switch around and there's like a bidding auction phase about who gets what goods. And you're just trying to coordinate getting goods from your docks to your islands. And yeah, it's supposed to be really good. When I was up there this Saturday and we were moving all their games down to their new game shelves in the basement, one of the stacks Edward handed me, like I had a pretty good stack. It's like, oh, I can take another one. And he goes, okay. And he hands me Container. He goes, here. He goes, here, you can take Container. And I go, oh, sweet. And he goes, to the basement, not your car. It's like, well, you know, there's a reprint coming, so
Slightly
I don't
less
need to
sweet.
steal it. But
Oh no, it fell down the stairs.
oh my god, I was so nervous about that. Like, God, I cannot drop any of these games going down the stairs.
I dropped Seven Wonders Duel 3 times before I even played it.
You did, and you can't even tell. Can't even tell.
Yeah. So those are the two reprints I'm kind of interested in. There's Walking Dead No Sanctuary. I was really interested. It was on my list based on a couple things I'd heard about it. And then I looked into it more, and it fell off of the top 10. The things that I heard that made me interested, I've heard that it's another zombie game where zombies aren't the focus at all. It's the survivors, which is kind of the whole shtick of the
whole
Walking
thing of the
Dead.
comic book. Yeah.
And I've also heard that this is the Walking Dead game for Walking Dead fans.
As someone that owns issue 1 through 162, you could say I'm a Walking Dead fan.
Yeah, I have the compendiums. I don't have the individual issues, but I'm a big fan of the graphic novel and the TV show.
Yeah.
But then I looked into it, and it was a Kickstarter that I missed that had a shit ton of exclusives, and that turns me off.
Kickstarteritis.
That turns me off pretty solidly, so that is what knocked it off of my list. But I'll still keep an eye on it and see if it's maybe a decent game without all those exclusives. Or if there's a way to get the exclusives for a reasonable price.
Yeah.
But
I'd say as a good wrap up, we could probably have a combined top 3 for the Mile High Game Guys.
Yes.
yeah, I'd say so.
Of Charterstone, First Martians, and Pandemic Legacy Season 2 in no
Definitely.
particular order.
Correct. I would agree with that. It's a solid top 3. Those are 3 that you will definitely probably hear us talk more about because we will...
Definitely, probably.
Definitely, probably.
Probably, definitely.
Well, I want to say definitely, but I mean, I can't see the future.
We could all be
be
dead.
something come up.
You
Yeah.
could just make an assumption.
Yeah.
You could just assume that
All
we're
right,
going
fine.
to do it.
An asteroid could hit
You are
this
definitely
city at
going
any
to
point.
hear reviews of those 3 games at some point.
Man,
Locked
that's
it in.
Yeah,
Locking
just
it in.
locking it in, eh? All right. Don't want any wiggle room on that or
As
anything?
long as I am alive and still doing the podcast, those will happen. All 3 of them.
Okay.
I'm interested in all 3. I'll make all 3 happen. Boom. Locked it in. All right, so...
We're all dead in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So to close out, is there any other board game related stuff that isn't a board game that you're looking forward to for 2017?
There's
Going to Gen Con again?
finding all of the games that I'm like, I'm an idiot for not noticing this 6 months ago at Gen Con.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I'm an idiot. And it's gone.
I plan to have disposable income there so I can actually buy things.
Yes, I'm starting to actively budget for Gen Con.
Ding and dent for life.
This
Yeah,
year,
seriously.
2017 is already shaping up to be the year of the con for me. I got the exact reaction from Zach that I wanted that too. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So in addition to doing Gen Con, which I've done every year for the last 2 years, I'm doing for the first time Geekways to the West. It sounds like I'm going to end up doing HeavyCon. I'm going to do probably Genghis Con here in town. What's the other board gaming convention?
Conclave
here?
of
Conclave of Gamers. And then I'm pushing really hard to try and figure out how I can do either or, if not both, BGG and Origins.
That's yeah.
Good luck.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll be here.
So
Saving up money to spend more at Gen Con.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to try to go. I'm looking forward to going to a lot of cons. I'm looking forward to now that I've really gotten more into following board game industry people, big air quotes, podcasts, designers, developers. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting to actually meet some of these people and play games with them. I think that seems like a pretty
They're
cool
all
thing to
mostly
do.
nice, probably.
They all seem pretty solidly nice.
Yeah.
I can't think of any that really sound like
They'll
assholes.
talk to a small person.
I mean, I'm pretty
as long
sure.
as-
I'm pretty sure Will Wheaton's not going to play a game with me, but
No, but he's busy. He'd get swarmed
yeah, I
to
don't
like dangerous
entirely blame
levels
him.
of crowds around people.
So yeah, mostly I'm looking forward to playing a lot of games with a lot of people. That's my most anticipated thing for 2017.
Yeah,
And keep putting out podcast episodes.
indeed.
Another 50 some.
52 and
Another 50?
another.
Yeah, for 27. We've already put out 2 in 2017.
Okay.
I'm
What,
looking
for
forward to
another
putting out
40
at least another 50.
Another 49,
49?
49ish. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe we'll actually record those Time Stories episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
if we remember anything that happens.
We'll remember.
Yeah.
And we'll replay it.
Let's bring the cards.
So it's not going to be as nearly as interesting. For that first one, we'll be like, oh, we know immediately what's going on.
I can just drag us to that cave first thing again.
Oh, God.
Oh, the early days.
Yes.
Yes. So before we venture into Time Story spoilers, let's wrap this shit up. All right. So, Jeff, how can listeners get a hold of us?
You can email us at emails@milehighgameguys to tell us how awesome our lists are.
Hell yeah. You can also tweet us how awesome our lists are. You can tweet me at MHGameGuys.
You can tweet me at you can tweet me at Zach_MHGG.
And I'm at Jeff_MHGG.
We are also on Instagram at Mile High Game Guys, Facebook.com/Mile High Game Guys, and we have a Mile High Game Guys Board Game Geek Guild. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys later. As always, I've been Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So,
I'm just asking you basic questions that I thought you'd know, Adrian. I'm sorry.
He's got to open up another tab in Firefox.
Yeah. These must be amazing games if it's...
I just didn't want to mess up.
Okay. All right.
I'm glad you asked that, Zach. See how
I'm glad I did too.